So you're considering refinancing your student loans. Well, here's some information and some of the steps to help you through that process. The first thing you want to do before you get started is locate all of your student loans. Get an idea of how much you owe, the payoff amounts, get the statements, and if you're able to, it could even be helpful to print out all this information to help you see everything all together, get an idea of who are your lenders, how much you owe, and those payoff amounts, and have them there so you can easily reference them as you go through the process. If you have federal student loans and you're not exactly sure who your servicer is, or you kind of lost track, you can always log into your account at Studentaidgov. There, you'll need your FSA ID, username, and password so you can log in. If you have private student loans and you've kind of lost track of who your lender is, or you need to find where you can get that information, maybe you set it on auto pay a few years ago and you just haven't looked at it ever since. Well, you can actually go to your credit report. Pull your credit report, and there you can actually find your private student loan accounts. Trust me, getting all this information together and ready to go will definitely help you throughout this process. Now let's go over some other steps. So the first step was just to locate all your student loans, get all your documentation together, and get ready for the process. Now the second step is going to be about making decisions about what you want to do with each loan. When it comes to private student loan refinance, you can actually include federal student loans and private student loans and refinance them together into a new loan. Now, you can choose which loans you want to include in a refinance and which ones maybe you want to leave separate. Continue paying them any way that you are. Some reasons why you may not want to include all of your loans, well, if you do have some federal student loans and maybe you're working towards forgiveness or you're almost done repaying, it's okay to leave them there. If you have private student loans, maybe you took out some for your undergrad, now you have additional loans from your graduate degree, and now you're realizing, well, I'm almost done paying off my undergraduate loans, so I think I'm just gonna keep those out for now. And that's completely fine, and all of this is your choice. You can pick and choose which loans that you want to include in your private student loan refinance. If you do have federal student loans, just know when you refinance with a private student loan lender, you're no longer part of the federal student loan program, meaning you won't have access to some of the borrower benefits that the federal program has, but there could be other reasons why you are considering private student loan refinance over federal student loan consolidation. So the next step in the process is to find a lender that you want to work with. So you've decided which loans you want to refinance in there, and now it's time to find a lender. Now, how do you really go about this? There's a lot of lenders out there. It can be kind of overwhelming. What you want to do is identify why you're doing the refinance in the first place. Now, there's a few common reasons that people have, and everybody can have their own reasons, but one of the most common reasons is lowering your interest rate. In the federal student loan program, there's no real way to lower your actual interest rate on a loan. The only way you can do that is by looking to a private student loan refinance. Another reason would be, you have a lot of loan servicers, a lot of lenders, you're getting multiple bills. It's kind of hard to keep track of. So this is one way that you can kind of bring those all together into one bill to help you manage your repayment. Another super common reason, if you have a student loan cosigner, especially on a private student loan. As we know, cosigners are equally responsible for the repayment of a loan. So if that cosigner now has to make a major financial decision, needs access to credit, having that credit line on their credit report for a private student loan that they're only co-signing could actually hurt them. Meaning it might be worth it for them to ask you to remove them as a cosigner. If you don't have a cosigner release option available to you, or you don't meet the requirements of it, then you can actually refinance your loan to remove the cosigner on your existing loan, because it'll be a brand new loan. The other thing about private student loan refinance is even if you're having trouble qualifying on your own or qualifying for the rate that you want, or the best rate you can get, is you actually have the ability to apply with a cosigner to help you out. If you had a cosigner for any of the loans that you're refinancing in, you don't need to use the same cosigner. You can actually use a new cosigner to help you qualify. Now, making the decision with the lenders. Time to pick one. And there are a lot of options out there. My recommendation to get started is going to a site like ours, privatestudentloans.com, and going to the top of the page, and there you'll see a Refinance tab. There you can see some of the lenders that we work with, where you can easily compare some of their terms, some of their conditions of a loan, and then you can pick a loan that makes sense for you. Now that you found a lender that you want to work with, now it's time to complete the application. Once you complete the application, then the lender will approve you or deny you. If you're denied, you might want to look into the option of applying with a credit-worthy cosigner. If you're approved, this is where you'll get to see some of the terms that are going to be applied to your loan. You can see the interest rate, your options there. Generally, lenders will give you an option between a fixed or a variable rate. You can also look at the repayment terms offered to you. Some repayment terms can be up to 20 years. So that could help you with your monthly payments going forward. During the refinance application process and the approval process and finalizing the loan, you're going to be in direct contact with your lender. They may ask you for additional information, make sure they have the correct amounts for the payoff amounts. You just want to make sure to be extremely responsive during this process. Any delays in your response or getting the information that the lender's looking for could delay the completion of the entire refinance application. Here's a word of advice. During this whole process, until the refinance loan is completed, is to continue making payments to the underlying loans that you're going to refinance. Don't worry about maybe paying a little too much to the lenders that you're paying off with this refinance loan. If there's any sort of credit, they'll either issue it to you or have it applied to the new refinance loan that you have. My name is Elaine Rubin, Senior Contributor and Communication Specialist here at Edvisors. Make sure you subscribe to our channel because you don't want to miss out on some of the topics that we help break down for you. Thanks.